Hello everyone, this is CJ with Cyclotron. Well, it appears that Jochen Zeitz, the CEO of Harley Davidson, now admits that the future is not all electric for Harley Davidson. Harley's bet their future on whether Livewire, their electric subsidiary, can start generating positive cash flow in the next few years. I wish them well, they're going to need it. Unfortunately, I realize that Harley Davidson and Livewire simply don't have their act together, as I learned when I tried to arrange a recent test ride for a Del Mar model. I wanted to ride the Del Mar because it looks like an interesting bike, and I was curious enough to want to learn more about it. So in this video, I'll tell you what I learned about this Del Mar bike and what Harley Davidson and Livewire both need to do to have a chance of selling this bike to even the extremely narrow segment of riders that this bike might appeal to. It also appears that Harley's CEO is finally understanding the problems with their electric motorcycle play, as I'll cover later in this video. I test rode the Harley Davidson badged Livewire, what's now called the Livewire 1, back in 2020. I liked the bike, but at the time it was insanely priced at $30,000. Now that bike goes for about $23,000. Livewire's second bike is the Del Mar, which lists for $15,500. I filled out the demo request for the Del Mar at the Livewire website. It took a couple of days for them to email me back and to say I should get back with them and confirm the time and date for my Livewire 1 demo. The demo location was at the Harley dealership in Minneapolis. I emailed them again and pointed out that I was supposed to be demo riding the Del Mar and not the Livewire 1. Nobody got back with me. I then called the phone number that was in their original email and talked with a Livewire rep. He told me they didn't have any Del Mars available anywhere for demo rides. They were only hosting a handful of Del Mar demo events, including one at the upcoming Sturgis rally, but there were no events pending in or around Minnesota. He told me that they were prioritizing getting bikes out to people who ordered their Del Mars online long ago and were still waiting for delivery. Livewire originally said that they planned to produce 2,000 Del Mars this year, but now with production pushed back to the end of the year, they would probably be shipping fewer than 500 units this year. It makes you wonder why they're having such a hard time producing a lower-priced electric motorcycle over 4 years following the release of the initial model. So let's cover some of the main features about this bike, and I'll tell you what Harley Davidson and Livewire need to do to salvage any kind of sales for this bike. I still mention Harley Davidson because they own 90% of the stock after 20% of the early investors pulled out. The Del Mar weighs 436 pounds and is rated at 84 horsepower with a massive 194 foot-pounds of torque. This bike has a range of 113 miles maximum, but at sustained speeds over 70 miles per hour, that range plummets to only 43 miles. This bike is as quick as most sport bikes with a reported 0 to 60 time of a flat 3 seconds. The Del Mar does not offer DC fast charging. Level 2 charging to 100% takes about 2.5 hours, and Level 1 charging, which is your normal 110 from your wall outlet, takes about 8.4 hours to get 100% charge. Now I do think there's a market for this bike, but I think that it's extremely small. Certainly at most a couple thousand per year. I would be interested to hear what you think about this, but here's what I'm thinking. This bike could appeal to strictly urban riders who have relatively short commutes and don't plan to ride more than 20 miles away from home. I think this bike could be for the urban rider who does not want to do any maintenance such as chain maintenance, oil changes, and things like that would be needed on a conventional motorcycle. I think this bike could appeal to people who want to ride a motorcycle but don't want to have the learning curve associated with the clutch and gear shift. And I think this bike could appeal to someone looking for a unique second or third bike in their garage and would only use it for short hops around town. Outside of these groups, I really don't see anyone else wanting one, mostly due to the extremely limited range and long charging times. There are also people who would miss the sound and feel of a conventional internal combustion engine motorcycle and would likely find that this Del Mar would be too bland of a ride. So what I'm saying is I can appreciate this bike, but I would certainly stick with my 2020 Katana with its full exhaust for my in-town and around-town riding. That bike is loads of fun, and even though I'm gassing up every 100 miles, it takes less than 60 seconds to fill the tank with gas. So since I'm always giving the motor company free business advice, here's what I think they need to do with the Del Mar. 1, they should offer it for lease for $200 a month on a 3-year term. That way they can book sales as proof of concept to Wall Street. Also, if you leased it for 3 years, you wouldn't have to worry about an upcoming high-dollar battery replacement. You also wouldn't have to worry about resale value because, let's face it, if the manufacturer is having a hard time selling these bikes new, how easy do you think it would be for them to unload a used Livewire? 2, they should only sell Livewire bikes at dedicated Livewire locations. These could be fixed dealerships, pop-up dealerships, or even direct-to-consumer sales. They should not be selling Livewires at Harley Davidson dealerships, in my opinion. The main reason is that the Livewire customer is vastly different from the traditional Harley customer, and I think most of them would not feel comfortable or even feel welcome at most Harley dealerships. My local Harley dealer salespeople in the Kansas City area were openly mocking the Livewire customers. They said they were easy to spot with their man buns and Birkenstock sandals. 3, Livewire needs to get way more demo bikes into the pipeline. I think they're at a serious disadvantage in terms of sales if most buyers can't go on a demo ride first. 4, Livewire needs to beef up their online support. My experience with them indicates they're still pretty green and the coordination is far from smooth. 5, I think Livewire needs to do more to promote rider training. I'm concerned that the few people who'd actually buy a Livewire or Del Mar electric motorcycle may not have any prior riding experience. A bike that can go from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds flat and has nearly 200 foot-pounds of torque is not a beginner's bike at all. 6, Livewire needs to come with a minimum of 3 tow services when people run out of battery and are stranded on the side of the road. 7, Harley needs to create an electric motorcycle owners group, or Livewire that is, similar to say the Harley owners group, to promote a sense of community and to reward the early adopters of these electric motorcycles. Finally, Harley Davidson and Livewire needs to get on the right track by realizing that these models are not going to lead to mass adoption of electric motorcycles, and instead just cater to the small group of people who would actually buy an electric motorcycle. In other words, they need to cut their losses relative to their plans to sell 100,000 electric motorcycles by 2026, because it's not going to happen. So far this year, Harley has only shipped about 500 Livewire 1 models, and the number that's actually been sold has not been reported. Right now, there's a lot of bearish sentiment and short interest on Livewire stock, so the vultures are circling. Maybe that's why for the first time I've seen, Jochen Zeitz said that maybe alternative fueled vehicles will be needed as a complement to EVs. But he went on to say that you could only invest in so many technologies. Here was the lead up to the interview question and Jochen Zeitz's response by Visor Down. I put a link to this article in the description for this video. The interviewer says, but with Harley Davidson's Livewire subsidiary covering the electric side of things, the Harley CEO isn't keen to put all his eggs in an electrically charged basket just yet. You get the impression that he has one eye on the horizon waiting for another option to keep us mobile. Now here's what Zeitz had to say. I mean, don't ever rule anything, bio/e-fuels, out at this stage. I think you can only invest in so many technologies and infrastructure. It's a huge investment. And you have an existing infrastructure with fuel. So if there was an opportunity to leverage that long term, there might be a transition technology that might be something to complement electric. So this is a significant departure from Zeitz previously saying that all motorcycles with internal combustion engines would be phased out for the switch to electric motorcycles by Harley Davidson by 2050. The question that remains is, why did Harley bet so big and so early on electric motorcycles, especially since it sounds like Harley has made no investment in biofuel motorcycles with internal combustion engines? Again, please let me know what you think in the comments, and please hit those subscribe and notification buttons. Thanks very much.